We gather together this morning tenderly, like drops of dew on a leaf of grass, hopefully, like gathered raindrops in a cloud, gleefully, like water rushing in a stream to the sea, deeply, like groundwater pulled up from a well. We gather from every direction for another year of growth and depth, another year of companionship and hope, another year of learning to love this world. We gather like the water that joins us across all of creation, the water that connects us within and without, merging and flowing across the entire world. Well, these opening words by Molly Hoosh-Gordon welcome all who have gathered this morning for our Sunday service. Welcome to those of you here in the building at Essex Church. Welcome to those joining us via Zoom, and indeed anyone joining via YouTube or the podcast at a later date. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Jane Blackall and I am minister with Kensington Unitarians. The theme of this morning's service is holy water. We have a long-standing tradition in this congregation. Each September we hold our Gathering of the Waters ceremony. This is a ritual regathering. Over the summer people tend to be coming and going on various travels. Today is a day to come home, come back together and symbolically reaffirm our connectedness once again. Wherever we've come from, wherever we're going to, if we're here every Sunday or only here once in a blue moon, or maybe someone's here for the first time, we are intimately connected, just like the water that flows endlessly around our planet. So hopefully today you've brought some water with you, or if you haven't, you've got a bottle from our greeter on the way in. You can pick one up from the box at the back. We've got some little spare bottles. No one needs to be left out. And it's always an invitation, not an obligation. You don't have to join in if you don't want. I'll explain more as we go along. And of course, everyone at home can join in too. I'll explain how. But before we go any further, let's light our chalice flame as we do each time we gather. It's a moment for us to stop and pause, to check in with ourselves, maybe take one or two intentional breaths. How are we doing? It's a chance for us to put aside anything we came in carrying. It can wait for an hour. And let's join in this simple ritual that connects us with Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists the world over, and which reminds us of the proudly progressive religious tradition of which this gathering is part. We gather from the ebb and flow of our lives, thirsting for connection to ourselves, thirsting for connection to others, thirsting for connection to the larger life. So as we light this chalice, may all who gather here be filled with joy and hope, filled with compassion and love. And may we be filled so that we may pour ourselves out back into the world. Time to sing. Our first hymn today is number 147 in your purple book, Spirit of Earth, Root, Stone and Tree. For those joining via Zoom, the words will be up on screen as they will for all the hymns today. Feel free to stand or sit as you prefer, and let's sing up as best we can. Hymn number 147.
Tree.
So let's take all our joys and concerns, both spoken and unspoken, into a time of prayer and reflection now. This is based on some words by Bruce Southworth. You might want to change your position if there's a position that helps you to feel more prayerful, whatever helps you to get into the right state of body and mind for us to pray together. To be fully present in this sacred time and space we co-create, present to ourselves, to each other, and to that which lies within us and beyond us. Spirit of life, God of all love, in whom we live and move and have our being, we turn our full attention to you, the light within and without, as we tune into the depths of this life and the greater wisdom to which and through which we are all intimately connected. Be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and the stillness at the very centre of our being. As we gather together in prayer this morning, let us be aware of the varied human experience embodied in this community. We each go through such a mix of ups and downs. Sometimes life is tough and the world bears heavy on us. We struggle alone and search the depths, longing for healing, for hope, for strength, which give their grace and peace. Each of us here carries our own private burdens. Sometimes we feel able to share these, and for the open hearts which respond with tender care, we are so grateful. Each of us here gathered knows something of life's blessings too. This crisp autumn morning, let us give thanks for all those joys that break through. Let us give thanks for the care and compassion of friends, family, and neighbours. Let us give thanks for the communion of all those who seek to serve others. And may we too be strengthened in our efforts to be of service, being always mindful of all that's good in our lives, whatever success or privilege or happiness we have been blessed with. May our prayer be that we always see clearly and keep before us the commandment to care, striving always to be generous, inclusive and open. So on this day and every day, may we give thanks. But let us also be a little dissatisfied with the world as it is, for a new world, a realm of love, is still waiting to be realised. May our spirits and bodies be nourished and nurtured as we give praise for all that sustains, all that heals and holds, all that is holy and good. And in a few quiet moments now, let us take some time to pray inwardly all the prayers of our own hearts, calling to mind all those souls we know to be suffering this day, whether close to home or spread round the world. Let us hold these sacred beings in the light of love. And let us also pray for ourselves, for we too are sacred beings who face our own struggles and muddle through life as best we can. So let's take a few more moments to reflect on our own lives and ask for what we most need this day. Perhaps comfort or guidance or forgiveness, whatever we need in order to flourish. And let us take just a little longer to remember the good things in life and give thanks for them. All those moments in this past week where we've met generosity or kindness or pleasure. Let us cultivate a spirit of gratitude as we recall all those moments that have lifted our spirits this week. Spirit of life, God of all love, as this time of prayer draws to a close, we offer up our joys and our concerns, our hopes and our fears, our beauty and our brokenness. And we call on you for insight, healing and renewal. As we look forward now to the coming week, help us to live well each day and be our best selves, using our unique gifts in the service of love, justice and peace. Amen. Time to sing again. Our next hymn is a new one to me. I did send the link out to the tune in this week's email, so you had a bit of time to prepare. It's one of the few watery hymns we've got, number 160 in the Purple Book, The Highest Goodness is Like Water. It's based on the words of the Tao Te Ching. I must say, I hope some of you listened to the tune beforehand. Luckily, we've got the quartet to back us up this week, and Andrew will play it through in full before we sing. Do your best. Hymn number 160.
Thank you.
This is a slightly longer than usual reading. It's words written for a gathering of the waters ceremony in a UU church in Brooklyn by Anna Levy-Lyons, titled Making Holy Water. I'm going to share her words with you, and later on in the service I'll invite you to join in something similar to what she describes. So she writes, "What makes water holy? Most of the religions of the world have some concept of holy water, water with the power to clean us, not only our bodies but our souls, water that blesses and nurtures us and brings us closer to the divine. For Catholics, holy water is water that has been specially blessed by a priest. For Hindus, the Ganges River and other rivers are considered holy, each connected to a goddess. In Judaism, to make a mikveh or ritual bath, you take pure rainwater, pour it into a basin with stone walls, and make sure that it's flowing and not still. This water is considered so holy, so spiritually charged, that nothing can ruin it. Even if you were to throw a pig into it, which I don't recommend, it still keeps its purity and its potency. So holy water in all these different traditions has power. Just as water conducts electricity, it's also a medium for transmitting blessings, the juicy goodness of life. And what about us Unitarians? Can we get in on this holy water thing? What, if anything, would make water holy for us? Well, to the extent that Unitarians can agree on any theology, it entails the idea that the holy is to be found in the collective, the illuminated moment of our gathering. That when we come together, when we each bring a part of our authentic selves to the community, we create something far greater than the sum of our parts. That something greater, that ineffable sparkle of electricity, is what some of us call God. And so for us, I believe that holy water is water that all of us make holy together. It's water that sparkles with the energy of a little bit of each of us, a little bit of each of our experiences, our history, our stories and our hope, our love. It's where the one includes the many and the many become one. And making holy water is what we're going to do in our water ceremony today. We're each going to pour a little bit of water we've brought from home, from our travels, from the church tap. We're going to pour it into a collective bowl. And the water that results may be part salt water, part fresh water, some chlorine, millions of microorganisms, molecules from near and far, atoms from the age of the dinosaurs. That water will reflect the diversity of each of us. The water will be greater of the sum of what we pour into it. The water will hold a spiritual charge because it has been intentionally charged with love from each of us. And that water is water which we together will pronounce holy. And what we're going to do with this holy water? Well, first I suggest that we boil it. I assure you it will not diminish the holiness in any way, but it will hopefully diminish the head count of the microorganisms in there. And then we'll use the water to bless people. We could use it in baby naming ceremonies. When we touch the water to a baby's head, it will transmit the blessing from each of us in this room to the baby. And when one of us is dying or ill, if they would like it, they could also be touched by this holy water and receive our blessing. And what is it to give a blessing? It's to give a part of yourself, part of your own internal electric charge. It's to say, here's a little bit of me that can become a little bit of you. It might strengthen you, connect you a little bit more to the universe. Because, of course, I am made of the little bits of everyone and everything that came before me. Here's a little bit of my love, a little bit of the juicy goodness of life. Life as I experience it, and I want to share it with you. We're also going to, she writes, save a little of our holy water to include in next year's holy water. So each year we'll also include molecules from each of the past years. If we were to do this for the next 100 years, your water will still be there, however diluted, taking part in making the blessing. Babies born to people not yet born will receive your blessing. Elderly people in their final days on earth will receive your blessing. You may even receive your own blessing back one day. So I invite you to lift up your water container and bless it. Fill it with your best prayers, your best visions for our world. Saturate it with your you-ness. And then when you're ready, bring it to the front and let it go. This water we will have made into holy water. May all who it touches receive the blessing and the love of this gathered community. Words from Anna Levy-Lyons from the First Unitarian Congregational Society in Brooklyn. We might do slight variations on what she suggested, but for now, let's take this idea of blessing the waters into our time of meditation. Hopefully, you'll have your water you brought from home or some water that you got from Patricia on the way in. If you haven't, you can go and grab one from the back. Now is the time to pick it up and have it in your hands. And if you're at home, please join in this process too. When it comes to the sharing of the water, I will pour some in on your behalf. I have faith that in some mysterious way our blessings will still mingle even at a distance. So during our 3 minutes of silence, I'll invite you to focus on the water which is in your hands. And in whichever way this makes sense to you, to bless the water. The silence will end with the sound of a bell as usual, and then we're going to hear some beautiful music, one of my favourites for our continued reflection. Later on in the service, I'll tell you what we're doing in terms of the common bowl. But again, let's get comfortable. Maybe adjust your position. You might want to have your feet flat on the floor to ground and steady yourself. And all this is an invitation, not an obligation. Feel free to meditate in your own way. But if you are willing, in this time of silence, I invite you to take the container of water in your hands and bless it. And as Anna Levy-Lyons said, fill it up with your best prayers and visions for our world. Saturate it with your you-ness. Imagine those prayers and visions and intentions mingling as we pour those waters into our common bowl, as they will symbolically and mysteriously be transmitted onward.
Morning. This is a longer than usual poem by the much-loved mystical poet Mary Oliver, which speaks of holiness and water, our theme today. It's called At the River Clarion.
I don't know who God is exactly, but I'll tell you this. I was sitting in the river named Clarion on a water-splashed stone, and all afternoon I listened to the voices of the river talking. Whenever the water struck a stone, it had something to say, and the water itself, and even the mosses trailing under the water. And slowly, very slowly, it became clear to me what they were saying. Said the river, I am part of holiness. And I too, said the stone, and I too, whispered the moss beneath the water. I'd been to the river before a few times. Don't blame the river that nothing happened quickly. You don't hear such voices in an hour or a day. You don't hear them at all if selfhood has stuffed your ears. And it's difficult to hear anything anyway through all the traffic, the ambition.
If God exists, he isn't just butter and good luck. He's also the tick that killed my wonderful dog, Luke. Said the river, imagine everything you can imagine and keep on going. Imagine how the lily, who may be part of God, would sing to you if it could sing, if you would pause to hear it. And how are you so certain anyway that it doesn't sing? If God exists, he isn't just churches and mathematics. He's the forest, he's the desert, he's the ice caps that are dying. He's the ghetto and the Museum of Arts. He's Van Gogh and Allen Ginsberg and Robert Motherwell. He's the many desperate hands cleaning and preparing their weapons. He's every one of us, potentially. The leaf of grass, the genius, the politician, the poet. And if this is true, isn't it something very important? Yes, it could be that I am a tiny piece of God, and each of you too, or at least of his intention and his hope, which is a delight beyond measure. I don't know how you get to suspect such an idea. I only know that the river kept singing. It wasn't a persuasion, it was all the river's own constant joy, which was better by far than a lecture, which was comfortable, exciting, unforgettable.
Of course, for each of us, there is the daily life. Let us live it, gesture by gesture. When we cut the ripe melon, should we not give it thanks? And should we not thank the knife also? We do not live in a simple world.
There was someone I loved who grew old and ill. One by one, I watched the fires go out. There was nothing I could do except to remember that you receive and we give back.
My dog Luke lies in a grave in the forest. She is given back. But the river Clarion still flows from wherever it comes from to where it has been told to go. I pray for the desperate earth. I pray for the desperate world. I do the little each person can do. It isn't much. Sometimes the river murmurs, sometimes it raves.
Along its shores were, may I say, very intense cardinal flowers, and trees, and birds that have wings to uphold them, for heaven's sake, the lucky ones. They have such deep natures. They are so happily obedient. While I sit here in a house filled with books, ideas, doubts, hesitations.
And still, pressed deep into my mind, the river keeps coming, touching me, passing by on its long journey, its pale, infallible voice singing.
Thank you, Patricia, and thank you, David. So we've come now to the time for the gathering of the waters. In a moment, Andrew's going to play some gentle music for us, and the invitation is simply for each of us to come up in silence with the water that we have brought and blessed, and silently and reverently pour it into the common bowl, or pour a bit of it if the bowl is looking a bit full. I'm going to pour some on behalf of everyone that's joining us on Zoom, and when we're done, I'll invite you to join in with a responsive reading to close our ceremony. Thanks, Andrew. So I invite you now to join in with a responsive reading to conclude the blessing of the water. It's by Ranwa Hamari. If you're in the building, it's on your hymn sheet, but actually it has a very simple refrain, which I invite you to join in with. The response is simply, "The water is sacred." This water is sacred. It is made sacred by the many hands that have poured it with intention and love, the many stories that each drop contains, the many lives surrounding it in this unique moment, connected by commitment and faith. This water is sacred. May it continue to flow through this community with shining reflections of the unique gifts that flow through each of its members. This water is sacred. May it continue to nurture this community with sustaining hope that we journey together through ripples of growth and change. This water is sacred. May it continue to bless this community with loving reminders of our collective responsibility to one another and the world. This water is sacred. May its ripples be a reminder that the changes and growth within this community bring movement and transformation to the world beyond our doors. This water is sacred. May its purity offer grace to our community and the willingness to forgive ourselves and one another when we make mistakes. This water is sacred. In moments when we are confused or uncertain, may it bring us clarity of purpose and commitment. This water is sacred. In moments when the reservoirs of hearts and spirits are drained by sorrow or pain, may it nourish them with the knowledge that we are surrounded by a deep and abundant love. This water is sacred. Amen. Time for our last hymn now is number 111 in your purple books. Oh, brother, sun, sister, moon, sing up as best you can, hymn number 111. So it's just time for a few announcements. I should say, first of all, you are invited to take some of your holy water away with you. If you were given one of those little bottles, we can come up and fill those from the bowl at the end of the service. I have some spares if the bottle you brought with you is too large. I can take away a little bottle. Do bear in mind, it hasn't been boiled. Don't drink it. If anyone who's joined us online today would like one, I can save one for you and we'll find a way to get it to you, so just message me after the service. Putting that aside, thank you, as usual, to Ramona for tech hosting, for Janine co-hosting at home. If you are joining on Zoom, do hang around afterwards for a chat if you can, and think about whether you can help us out with co-hosting. We're always in need of more volunteers. Thank you to Andrew and the quartet for just splendid music today. Thanks to Patricia and David for making coffee and doing greeting and doing our lovely reading. If you're here in person, please do stay behind, not just for a cuppa, but for our potluck lunch. There's bound to be enough for everybody. And many thanks to Juliet in particular for organising the lunch and everybody who's pitched in to help. We've got various activities coming up, both in person and online. This Wednesday, Brian is running our in-person Heart and Soul, so please let him know if you're planning to come along. We've also got online Heart and Soul tonight with me on Influence, and Friday with Alex on Loyalty, so just email to sign up for whichever one you want to come to. Sonia is back with Nia on Fridays. Have a word with her if you want to know more. And the next meeting of the Better World Book Club is next Sunday, the 22nd, on Project Unlonely by Jeremy Nobel. You've probably still got time to read that. If you'd like to come along, just let me know if you want the link. And community singing will be back in a fortnight on the 25th. That was great fun this week. We had a good turnout and, always room for more. I'm about to go on my autumn break. You may see me pop up for one or two events, but basically I'm mostly on holiday until the first week of October now. Next week's service will be led by our good friend Michael Allard, minister with Golders Green Unitarians, on the theme Through the Triumphs and Disasters, Real Living. So do come along and show your support, and Margaret will be doing her singing class next week as well. I'm trying to line up some contributors for a congregational service on the 6th of October on the theme of poems we can count on. So if you've got a poem that means a lot to you, one that gives you comfort or strength in times of trial, if you could share that in that service and offer a short reflection about what it means to you, that would be really great. I've only got one volunteer at the moment, so if you might be able to chip in, let me know today, because if we haven't got enough, I'll come up with a plan B. All these activities are on the back of your order of service, so in the Friday email. Please do sign up for the mailing list if you haven't already. The congregation very much has a life beyond Sunday mornings, and we encourage you to look out for each other and nurture supportive connections wherever you can. So just time for our closing words and closing music now. It starts with a drop, then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water bubbling towards its destination, and finally the wild, wide, endless sea. All rivers run to the sea. Today we brought water and poured it into our common bowl, and though our experiences differ, these waters will mingle, signifying our common humanity. Today we came and shared in this sacred community. So may you depart this sacred space with heart filled with hope for new beginnings, a fresh start, and go forth but return. Return to this community where rivers of tears may be shed, where dry souls may be watered, where your joy will bubble and your cup of life overflows, where deep in this spirit we have found in this place a home. Amen.
one